Okay, folks, I got a very interesting video for you today. Any of you that may know me know that I have been a long-term career truck driver and have pretty much been everywhere. So I had an experience one time with Crete Carriers, and it wasn't a pleasant experience at all, and I'll explain it to you. And you also know that I'm a big person of signs and symbology now, and converting things over to Greek and Latin, so we're going to have fun with that and do some of that today with these people too. But anyway, I'm sure you've seen their equipment. It's up-to-date equipment, and it's a very large company. Now, I want you to pay attention when we're talking here in a minute about this symbol here, 1CCC. Okay? I want you to pay close attention to that, because that really means a whole lot about what I'm going to talk about today, about these people, because they are not who you think they are, people. Okay? It's not just your average friendly company that has no agendas under the radar, deep under the radar. And as you can see, red is two different colors. It means the devil, and it also means the Egyptian pharaonic color for war, if you follow my channel any at all. I know some of you may not understand that completely, but I'm just simply telling you what it is. And you may not be one of these people that's into these signs, symbologies, and things, but there is an audience out there for it, and that is my audience. And that audience also follows other people around too that does this kind of thing. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you need to kind of start from scratch with this and then come back, because this is not for the amateur. This whole presentation's not. But anyway, these people were this man that owns this company, or head of the board of directors, he was his daughter was head of the Nebraska medicine at the University of Nebraska, and she headed up the sleep problems and disorder studies. And I want you to remember that too when we talk about what we're going to talk about here in a few moments. And it talks about the various sleep disorders and things like that. This was headed up by Crete, people. This was the daughter of the man that was head of the board of directors that owned the majority, I guess, of the stock or what have you. She was the one that headed up these studies. And it just so happens, too, that I am very acquainted with this university, because my old professor, Dr. Chooks Ogbadiah, he was a Nebraska Cornhusker, so I'm kind of familiar already with this university. But they said the reason why that they got this started is they said that Reggie White, that played for the Green Bay Packers, had died of sleep apnea, and their sleep apnea studies had also showed that you could fall asleep at the wheel and this and that and the other, you know. Enough to warrant a bunch of vast studies on it. And I say, guys, that there's a deeper agenda here than just what these people are telling you about this sleep apnea, okay? So we're going to get off of this screen now, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to my notepad, okay? And we're going to have a discussion about these people and who they are, the signs, the symbols, and what they transfer over into. First of all, I want you people to know one thing, which we're going to get off of this. I want you to know that, first of all, the very fact that they are Crete, the name is Crete, well, that's a dead giveaway to me, guys, because it used to not be when I worked for them in the yesteryear, but it is now, because that's in Greece, and that's the tribe of Dan, and that's who I say in the world that we live in is running your Hollywood. They're running the politics, they're running the media, they're running everything in this country, people, okay? And if you don't understand that, I can't help you any. They're one of the supposed tribes of Israel they've been left out in the 144,000 in Revelations. And if you want to read a little bit more to know who they are, go to Revelation 2:9 and it will tell you who these people are. But anyway, let's go back to the 1 and the CCC that we were looking at, okay? And in Greek, we are going to transfer over what that means exactly. And I'm going to reveal to you who these people are and what their true agenda is. First of all, the CCC has two different meanings to it. In geometria equivocal, which I did this to simplify for you guys, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. So, that means that this is 3. There's also a deeper meaning to that. You have 3 C's, 1, 2, 3. 3 and 3. 3 geometrical equivocal, 3 for the numerical add up of the C's. So, automatically that tells me, if you convert this over to symbology, here's what it is, folks. In ancient Greek, it's the hexagram. Okay? Hebrew. Just like I tried to tell you, they're one of the tribes, okay? Now, see my video, the Saturn planets and its symbols, if you don't understand what I'm talking about on that. But this is in ancient Greek. Now, the 1 has two different meanings to it that these 3 C's are inside of. This 1, obviously to me, means the one world order and its agenda. It does that. But it also has a deeper meaning to it. In Greek, this means Eva. In Hebrew, it means Eve. Eve. And in Eve, the word Eve, from a terminology standpoint, means breathe. Breathe. And I want you to remember this. I want you to remember what that I'm saying about this breathe, because that's going to come about here in just a moment. Okay, now, if you take a look at this, back, like I said, this is the hexagram. 2, 6, 36, 6, 6, 6. It's all got geometrical symbology to it. The red pharaonic color for war is what their trucks have on them. And this also has another deeper meaning. If you go back to the hexagram, you got 6 tips, 6 triangles, and 6 hexagonal sides. 6, 6, 6. And if you don't believe that, guys, in the Bible, you can go over to Amos 5:26. And don't you dare start saying, oh, this is the Star of David, Jerry. There is no such thing as a Star of David in the Bible. You people show me where it's at, and we'll discuss it. Now, there's a deeper meaning behind that as far as David, but it's not symbols, and I know what that is. I'm working on something else for that. Amos 5:26. For ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and Chion. Chion is a word meaning in Egyptian the Saturnalia god. And that's what this is. This is the star of Saturn. Is what it is, the Saturnalia god, or Satan. Your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves, in 5:26. Now let's go to Acts 7:43. Ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your God Ramphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. So that's what it has to say about this star. And this star is the fire god Moloch star, is what it is. And that is the star that the children of Israel, they worshipped it, and it was the devil, and they more or less, they burned their children alive in it. They got it from the Edomites and the Canaanites is what they did. And God told them that he didn't command them to do that, nor did it come into his mind. But that's what it is, folks. And that's what these people are. I just showed you what all this converts over into. But now I want you to remember this word, breathe. Okay? Because they got the breathe agenda going, okay? All right, let's go on over here. During orientation with these people, they weren't very nice at all. They didn't want the drivers in the front lobby because someone that worked there said they were embarrassed of them. Okay, well, that's real nice. That's about typical, given the fact that you're nothing but cattle to these people to begin with. So, you know, that's about par. Now, on these sleep apnea studies, like I told you, his daughter headed up the sleep apnea studies at the University of Nebraska. Okay? And when they conducted these studies with us, well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let me also say with this orientation, they told us about everything that the truck does, how they can tell how many RPMs you're going, whether you get out of the road or not, how fast you're going. They know everything about this truck. So much so that even somebody made the comment when we were in there, well, the only thing left to do is replace the driver. And you know what the guy said that was leading up the orientation? That's next. And it is, people. It's next. That's where this is headed. But anyway, let's get back to this sleep apnea studies that his daughter was doing at the University of Nebraska. They wanted to do sleep apnea studies on all of us, okay? And this story is going to be really, really something else when I tell you this. When they took us to these sleep apnea studies, they didn't take us to a medical facility of any kind. They took us to a hotel room there in Lincoln, Nebraska. And they hooked up a bunch of wires and stuff to us and put us in individual hotel rooms. Telling you the truth, guys, there was no medical facility. And that tells me that it wasn't governed by any kind of laws that it should have fell underneath. Okay? I mean, to me, guys, if you're doing something like that, conducting medical studies on somebody in a hotel room without a medical facility aware of it, that's more or less, what would you call that? Witch doctor practices, if you ask me. But the nurse that was the head of this study, I asked him what his credentials was. But I wanted to see his credentials out of his pocket that he couldn't provide it. And finally I got it out of him. He wasn't even a nurse at all. He was just a student there at Nebraska that had been taught how to just basically do that. So we were being monitored overnight on sleep apnea studies in a hotel room with 3 of these odd machines that hooked up to us, with a kid that didn't even really know much of anything. Sounds really shade characterish, doesn't it? But anyway, out of the 5 of us that they would do at a time there, they ended up saying that every single one of us had, that we all had sleep apnea, okay? So they took us back to the terminal in Nebraska, in Lincoln. We were already in Lincoln anyway, but they took us back to the terminal and told us that they were going to finance us a $1,250 sleep apnea machine with, keep in mind now, with a SIM card. Well, they didn't tell us a SIM card. I figured out later there was a box there with a SIM card on it. $1,250, and I got to looking, guys, even at today's prices, the average CPAP machine is $500 to $850. But $1,250, and to beat it all, I found out they had a trailer full of these things there. Making you pay for your own destruction, basically, because these sleep apnea studies are nothing but false. They're a pile of crap is what they are. There's nothing to these studies, people. This is a control agenda is what it is. And I've already showed you who is behind it. All right, so let me finish off my story here. When I got on this machine, they told me one night they couldn't let me drive because I hadn't completed my sleep cycle, and I said, well, I laid there for 8 hours. They said, yeah, but you didn't sleep for 8 hours. I said, well, I was laying there. They said, yeah, but you wasn't sleeping, though. I said, how do you know that? Well, I fussed on and on with them for a few minutes, and this woman got angry, so she finally told me that she was going to let me speak to one of the governing representatives of this CPAP machine. And, of course, I already told this woman when she got on her, I said, I know you people have got a SIM card, so you're monitoring this thing of some kind, aren't you? She said, yes, we are. I said, what does this mean then? You're able to tell whether I'm asleep or not? whenever that I'm laying down, she said, yes, we can tell your brain waves, we can tell your heartbeat, we can tell whether you're asleep or not, we can tell your blood pressure, we can tell all your vital signs and everything from a biological standpoint about your body. Okay? Now let me ask you something, guys. What's wrong with this picture? I mean, what are we going to do next? Are we going to let them put a chip in our head next? Is that what it is? Is that what we're going to do to drive a truck? Become a monster for them? At this point in time, I just said I don't have to do things like this, man, to live. Let somebody totally take over my life, which really I didn't quit at that point in time. I'll tell you how I quit. You guys know how I like going out on the weekends and going out in the woods and things like that. So when I wasn't on that machine on the weekend, they told me, oh, you wasn't on it on the weekend. I said it was no place to plug it up in the woods and it was my time to myself for 3 days off. They said, no, you have to wire that machine for three days, all 3 of those days. And I said, but I didn't want to be in around where electricity is. I love the woods. They said, we don't care what you love. You have to do what we say. Well, I'm going to tell you something, people. Before I let somebody control my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, guess what? I guess I'll just go hungry, won't I? This is absolutely ridiculous, people, that we have allowed this kind of stuff to take over in our lives. Which, by the way, just for fun, in closing here, not only is these Luciferians got the breathe agenda going on. Remember, breathe, yeah. Yeah, they're dealing with the breathe, ain't they? Mm-hmm. They're the ones that's heading up every bit of that stuff for all the trucking industry, guys. And you can see that they have it encoded. They've got it encoded right in there. The one, Eve, breathe. They've got it encoded in their symbols, what they're doing. But just for fun, like I said, in closing, I'm going to show you this latest app that this company had that I worked for here for a little while, which was nothing but a joke. It was called Reliable Constructors, I guess, and their equipment was nothing but junk. And it was just a joke in every sense of the word. I don't even know how that could have even been called a company, to be quite frank with you. And by the way, if you people ever see this, the guy that was heading that up, that his name was Spider, I do understand the process of that penetration and everything else down into the ground and the reason why his nickname was Spider, okay? Just for you people who thought at Reliable Constructors that you were dealing with an idiot, no. I'm not your average truck driver, people. Look at this right here. This is what they gave us. This goes on your telephone. This is the Samsara Drivers app. Samsara. Oh, brother, look. What is that, people? That's your owl at the Bohemian Grove, okay? Folks, this whole monitoring system, if this transportation and stuff, they are literally controlling your life and everything about it. I'm not driving for these companies no more. I'm not going to become a robot and a slave for these people and let them sit back and call me a dog behind closed doors. I believe I'll just starve first. If I have to live life like this, and these people think that they're higher minds right here, and that I don't see their agendas and their Luciferian agendas they do in the dark with their fire god Moloch stars and symbols and everything else, and the fact that they're head of the breathe studies right there for, the entire trucking industry. I see everything they do. These people can't hide from me no more, guys. I know who they are, I know what they are, and I know what they do. God is bringing these people out into the light, and He's going to continue bringing it out into the light. Here in the end, when the months is to come, all of this darkness is going to come out, folks. Every single bit of it is. And when it does, I'm telling you guys right now, you are going to be astounded when you see how bad at how big of a scale you have been deceived. I promise you. Thank you for watching my video.